Today we're chatting with Irene Hannon about Point of Danger, her new novel. Welcome to the program, Irene.
Thank you very much. It's a joy. It's a pleasure to be here.
This plot involves a radio show, a talk host who receives threatening letters and parcels because of her commentaries. Did you have to do a fair amount of research into the land of radio and specifically talk shows before you wrote the novel?
Not so much for that. That's one of the few times that I haven't had to do a lot of research. I think I've had enough experience doing interviews and being involved in media from my previous career that was a pretty easy thing for me to write about. Most of the time, though, I do tons of research for my book. So this was a little easy on that front. There's another part of this book that did require a lot of research. Didn't know anything about it, and I can't tell you because it would give the plot away. But I do lots of research for my books. I usually have about 100 single-space type pages of research notes and citations when I finish a book.
Well, then we'll save that question for a later time because we don't want to ruin the novel, that's for sure. I noticed that the series is going to be triple threat. And when I think of triple threat in entertainment, that's usually somebody who can act, dance, and sing, or in football, someone who can pass and kick and run. What does triple threat mean in this world?
In this case, the series is about three sisters. So the triple threat is that all three of them end up being in danger at some point in their book. They're all involved in truth-seeking professions that ultimately lead them into the path of danger. So every book, however, and I should tell also all of your listeners that every book does stand alone. It's part of the series, but the connecting thread is the sisters, but every story begins and ends in the book. There are no hanging plot threads. I know a lot of people hear, oh, it's a series. I don't want to read 3 books, or I don't want to have to read them all. No worries on that score. You can read 1, 2, any order, and you'll be just fine.
All right, so there's a loose link, but you could read number 3 when that comes before number 1 and you'd be fine. Now you've written more than 50 novels, which is remarkable. How do you still get inspired to keep writing?
You know, I think if you're a writer, it's one of those things you're born being a writer. So there's this compulsion to write and to tell stories. I don't know that it ever goes away. It's like any of the arts, it's a gift. And so if I have too much of a gap between writing, I just get this itch to start writing again. And so I start thinking of a new story to tell. And, you know, I don't know that that'll ever end. Mary Higgins Clark just passed away, but she was still writing well into her 90s. I think storytellers just tell stories their whole life.
Right. Now, do you find it a challenge to come up with new ideas? You may have that sort of built into you that you want to tell stories, but do you go through patches where you're scratching your head going, well, now what am I going to write about?
Every book.
Every book.
I'm not one of those. There are some authors who will say they have this list and this pile of story ideas that they will never be able to tell if they live to be 100. I am not one of those. I have to start from scratch pretty much with every book and think really hard to come up with ideas. And, you know, it usually starts with a little seed. I overhear something or I read something, and that kind of just grows, and I start to investigate. And pretty soon these strands are coming together that I begin to weave. But it's a from scratch process every time. So when I finish a book and get ready to start a new one, I have to start that whole process over again.
Well, we're looking forward to reading this one. By the way, I know that you didn't design the cover, or maybe you did, but it's a fantastic cover on this book. It's very engaging. So I'm very much looking forward to Point of Danger. Thank you so much, Irene, for taking the time today to chat about your new book.
It was my pleasure, and I hope everyone enjoys the book. And the cover is very different and unique, so I hope readers enjoy that too.
Thank you.